Hey there everyone, Hanyou here, and welcome to Higurashi When They Cry. This is actually a request made by a viewer, Sleg Infantryman. And it seems kind of right up my alley considering I'm coming off of Danganronpa 2. It's another visual novel. It's another kind of like horror mystery thing going on here, and yeah, kind of seems right up my alley right now. So we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna see how it is, and yeah, we'll go from there. This is chapter 1. There are 3 chapters in this first thing. I'm not sure how long each chapter is, so we'll pretty much play it by ear when it comes to episode length and stuff like that. The window for this game is very tiny. Welcome to the world of Higurashi When They Cry. The Onikakushi arc will be the opening, inviting you into this world. Don't play tough. Please just enjoy life in Hinamizawa to the fullest. Difficulty is extremely high, but I hope you will enjoy the reward. That's interesting. Please do not lament, I will forgive you, even if the world will not forgive you. Please do not lament, I will forgive you, even if the world will not forgive you. So please tell me, what will it take for you to forgive me? Oh, it's a work of fiction, so... That doesn't sound good. AD 1983. Ugh. If I was going to be ripped apart anyways, having my body ripped apart would have been far better. I trusted her. No, I still trust her. Even in this very moment, I trust her. It's kind of loud, I'm not going to lie, but... I'm starting to realize I only wanted to trust her because I refused to tell the truth. If it was as if I was trying to convince myself in such a silly, sobbing voice. Okay. Click to progress would be nice here. The mechanical repetition sound finally settled. Only the cry of the cicadas remained annoyingly loud, and yet I felt as if I could still hear her voice. But that's not possible. She's no longer speaking. Ooh. The only one crying is me. She never cried. Even when she repeated those words over and over, she never expressed any emotion because there were none to show. If she had no tears to shed for me, then I shouldn't need to shed any for her. That's why this pain, my eyes getting moist. Why was this happening? I still wanted to believe I hadn't been split apart. That's enough, right? Inside me, an inner voice whispered gently. My spirit had suffered enough, and countless times I'd wavered over whether I should just throw the battered thing away, except I stubbornly refused to do that, haven't I? I'd feel better if I just threw it away, even knowing that I chose to believe, didn't I? Only I can understand that painful struggle and appreciate it. Hey, me. I've tried more than enough. I'll acknowledge that much. So, isn't it alright to just take the easy way out? Oh boy. Besides, I'm not throwing it away. I'm leaving it behind with her, like flowers by a grave. Now then, calm your nerves. Even though you can't feel your right arm, just lift it up, and with every swing, forget a little more. That kindness made me happy. That adorable smile brought me joy. I liked petting your head. I loved how demure you were. Demure. Because this will be the last time. Because when I swing this down, I'll forget. This is my first and last bouquet for you. Seems like a fairly grim opening. Perhaps I really did. Love you. Okay. Farewell, huh? Somebody has been apologizing for a while now. Hold on 1 second. I gotta frickin' turn this down, man. Down more. There we go. Okay. Couldn't even adjust the settings until I got into the game. Anyway. Somebody has been apologizing for a while now. I wonder what she's apologizing for. It felt wrong to eavesdrop, so I tried to ignore it. It had been a while since I last went to the city. I only returned to attend the funeral of a relative. It had been a while since okay. Even though I'd lived there until last month, I found the bustle of the city to be overwhelming. Those skyscrapers and the multi-lane roads, the melodious cacophony of the crosswalk, even the campaign speeches blaring in front of the station felt nostalgic. The place where I live now isn't nearly as lively. There's only the chirping of locusts and the babbling of brooks. And the cry of the Higurashi, the evening cicadas. So Higurashi, when they cry, is basically the cry of the cicadas, which makes me think it's a story about summer. Anyway. Rather than making me feel lonely, it's a story that takes place during summer, hence the title's name reflects that. Rather than making me feel lonely, that quietness had begun to instill a sense of serenity. There is nothing where I'm living now. I don't just mean there aren't any burger joints, there aren't even vending machines. No music stores, no restaurants, and no arcades. Even an ice cream parlor would be unlikely. The nearest town has some stuff like that, but it's an hour away by bike. But come to think of it, it wasn't really a big deal. There were music stores and arcades and ice cream parlors, but it wasn't like I ever hung out at any of them. I had lived in the city for 10 years and never once been to an ice cream parlor. I should have gone at least once. It's only now that I'm starting to regret that a little. Somebody's still apologizing. Who is she apologizing to? She's apologizing so much, just forgive her already. There's no reason anyone should ever need to apologize so much. I started to feel a bit annoyed at whoever was refusing to forgive her. No matter how bad the mistake, there's nothing that can't be forgiven. There's no such thing as an irreparable mistake. You should just be more careful next time. She's still apologizing, even now. Then, has she really done something that can't be fixed? I have no idea what she's done, but if it can't be fixed, then that's all the more reason to forgive her. No matter how much she apologizes, nothing will change. But even so, she keeps apologizing in such a heartbreaking voice. Hey you, the one she's apologizing to, why don't you just go ahead and forgive her? She's apologizing in such a pathetic voice. Keiichi, we're almost there. Wake up. I was finally roused from my nap by my father's prodding. It seemed the train had reached its final stop. We'd spent hours riding everything from the bullet train to the local routes. It was hard to believe that the landscape beyond the window and the city I was in half a day ago were in the same country. That they were even from the same era. From there, we'd take a car deeper into the mountains. Nice scenery. The whole thing has like a hand-painted aesthetic. I like it. Past where the dense forest encroaching on the mountain road suddenly opened up. There, where I live now, Hinamizawa. Higurashi when they cry. Even though we weren't approaching summer, the morning air still had a frigid bite. Although in exchange, you could fill your lungs up with crisp, clean air. Flipping open the window, I was greeted with a verdant expanse. Nothing but trees. The neighboring house was far away on the other side, so I was probably the only one enjoying that view and that air. I filled my lungs with another deep breath. Since I started living in Hinamizawa, I learned that even air had its own taste. I quickly finished getting ready for school and headed downstairs for breakfast. My mother was the only one there. My father was nowhere to be seen. He was probably up working until the early morning. Dad had a rather unconventional job as a painter. It's such a laid-back profession. Get up when you want, sleep when you want, and work when you want. I was so jealous of that easygoing lifestyle. I even wrote for school that I wanted to be a painter when I grew up. Dad was ecstatic about that. I'm sure he was. It was because it looked easy. I'd never tell him that, though. Painting isn't easy unless you have a certain talent for it. Art in general, unless you have a certain talent for it, it's easy. Or unless you just naturally pick things up easily. Other than that, it can be a little difficult, but you can get the hang of it fairly quickly, I'm sure. Mom laid breakfast out on the table. Seaweed, pickled vegetables, raw egg, and grilled salmon. Sounds like a decent breakfast. And grilled salmon. Did I say grilled salmon? I think I said grilled salmon. My mom was such a good cook, it was scary. A perfect, immaculate, ideal breakfast. Unlike my dad, who didn't even know the meaning of the word schedule, my mom never squandered any time or effort. She hummed a little tune as she brought over the miso soup. It seemed like she was in a good mood today. I'm so happy you've been waking up early since we moved here, Keiichi. If I didn't wake up early, I wouldn't have time to eat breakfast. I thought I was being cute, responding with a wisecrack after being praised for being good. Full bowl of rice, will half be enough? Pile it on. First, I savored the steaming hot rice with the seaweed. After that, I covered it with the egg. Between bites of rice, I enjoyed the crunch of the pickles. Not bad at all. Actually sounds really good. I've barely eaten anything all day. Excellent as usual. Watching me clean my plate, my mom gave me a warm smile. I'm so happy you haven't skipped breakfast ever since we moved here, Keiichi. I was not a morning person when we lived in the city. I slept right until the last minute before school and rarely ate breakfast. Boycotting the breakfast Mom made me each morning, that was probably the only way I could protest being forced to attend cram school. I guess that was what you'd call my rebellious phase. I wouldn't so much as look at the breakfast she woke up early every day to make. It's kinda rude, man. If I could go back in time, I'd slap myself. Mindful of the time, Mom rushed me along with a wide grin. Isn't it about time you meet up with Reina-chan? Reina. Hurry. Mom really seemed to enjoy the fact that her son was going to school with a girl. I'm sure she was. Reina is one of my classmates. She really loves looking after people coming to meet me. She really loves looking after people coming to meet me every day without fail. Okay, so she really loves looking after people. Yeah, okay, so I was reading that wrong. The way I was thinking of the way of the mother, but it was, yeah, never mind. The way I looked at it, a guy my age walking to school with a girl, it was just lame. You think that now, but how old are you again? But, well, keeping a classmate waiting for me every day wouldn't be very considerate. Seriously though, how long does Reina wait there for me every morning? Taking one last gulp of miso soup, I raced for the door. Please thank Reina-chan for the pickles. I'm switching between Rena and Reina. Rena. I'm not gonna call her Rena, because that makes me think of Renamon. Unless that's actually how you say her name. Then I'll say Rena. Anyway, come to think of it, those pickles weren't store-bought, were they? If I'd known that, I would have savored them a bit more. Morning. I'm wondering how much interactivity there is to this visual novel. Because in Danganronpa, and in the Danganronpa series, there's a fair bit of interaction. And this, I'm not sure. Seems to be a more traditional visual novel. Actually seems to be like a re-release of an older series, if I'm correct. Probably came out in the 90s, early 2000s? Keiichi-kun, good morning. Her cheerful greeting was as fresh as the morning itself. You're always so early. You should try sleeping in sometime. If I sleep in, I'll keep you waiting. She's so conscientious and such a good person. If that ever happens, I'll just leave you behind. Keiichi-kun, you're so cold. I wait for you all the time. I'll leave you in the dust without looking back. Why are you so mean? Why? Rena had a slightly troubled look on her face. Yeah. Toying with her was rather good fun because of how quickly her mood changed. I'm kidding, I'd wait for you. With those words, Rena seemed to relax, her face flushing bright red. Thank you. I'd wait forever until you came, Rena. No matter how long. Forever? Rena turned bright red, steam rising from her head as her brain short-circuited. She's especially weak to this sort of talk. It's quite rare to find someone this fun to tease. Have you ever read a romance novel, Rena? Huh? I haven't. Never read any before. From that response, I gathered she wasn't interested in them, but was too embarrassed to actually buy one. I couldn't imagine what would happen if she did read one. She'd probably turn red and pass out. I'm getting a Hinata vibe from her. From Naruto. Definitely getting a Hinata vibe from her. Oh yeah, message from Mom. She says thanks for the pickles. It was nothing. You're welcome. How were they? Not too salty? They weren't that salty. Actually, they had a pretty light flavor to them. It would have been fine to just be honest and say they were good, but apparently I couldn't be that forthright. I'd like to ask something before that. Were you the one who pickled them, Rena? Or was it your mom? Huh? Huh? Why do you ask? Were they too salty? Her attitude completely changed as she began to panic frantically. Was it you, Rena? Now I'm calling her Rena. I'm gonna probably swap between all three as I'm reading this. Or was it your mom? What? Why are you asking who made them? Why? Depending on who made them, my opinion of them might change drastically. Huh? She counted frantically on her fingers, trying to remember the amount of salt she'd used to pickle them. It wasn't like I was trying to tease her, but I couldn't stop myself. Guys who take pleasure in this kind of thing are probably the worst. Guys like me. Rena nervously opened and closed her mouth over and over, trying to muster a response. It was me. Delicious. Huh? Pretty good, just like the last ones. They went perfectly with the rice. Her face went bright red again. She was completely spacing out. Okay, I gotta admit, she is easy to tease, but it's kind of cute, so I'd probably tease her too. That would probably make me the bad person too, but I'd do it just to see her cute reactions. I pray that Rena never gets taken advantage of by some lowlife. Keep at it, Rena. I'll train you until you handle it like the average person. Or so I decide for myself. Let's go. If we keep Mion waiting, we'll never hear the end of it. Seeing as she just keeps spacing out otherwise, I called Rena back to reality so we could make our way to school. This strange, easily flustered girl is Rena Ryugu. Probably butchering that, but my Japanese isn't terrible, but at the same time it isn't great either. I've only known her for about a month, but I've come to realize it's not just her name that's strange. Mi-chan, good morning. Coming up to the next rendezvous point, we saw another person waiting for us. Noticing us, she waved. Ah, finally, you two are late. Usually, you're the one who's late. In sharp contrast to the diligent Rena, this one marched to the beat of her own drum. She's Mion Sonozaki. For what it's worth, she's our senior and head of the class. Morning, Rena. It's been a while, K-chan. How many years? I was only off 2 days. Ha ha ha. You don't say. You were so much cuter back then. Mion's gaze started at my chest, then dropped straight down, focusing on the point between my legs. Oh boy. So she's that kind of character, is she? So she was saying it was my crotch that was cuter back then. Before you ask, just to be clear, I never actually tried to show it to her. I've grown quite splendidly. You'd be surprised. Oh boy. And he's that kind of character, huh? Anyway. Not only is he bigger, but he has a little mustache now. Oh boy. This is gonna be an awkward visual novel, isn't it? Being so engorged with energy every morning is quite a problem, though. I'll introduce you next time, so be sure to greet him properly. Oh, seriously, man? Tone it down a little bit. Don't say next time. Right now is just fine. How about letting the little guy get a breath of fresh morning air? I don't think I've ever heard talk so dirty. I don't think I've ever heard it talk so dirty you could smell it fouling up the morning air before. Mion sure does act like an old woman sometimes. Gotcha. Time for the big reveal. I hope you don't regret it. As my hand reached down for my fly, Rena began to ramble in a near panic. This group of characters is definitely an interesting one. Hey, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Red-faced and flustered, Rena tried to play dumb, but it was obvious she knew exactly what we were talking about. How was it, seeing the city again? Mion switched gears, dropping the dirty talk and changing the topic to something more befitting the pleasant morning. I only went for a funeral, didn't have much time. So yeah, did you look at it? Did you look for it? That thing I asked for? You're not listening at all. I just came back from a funeral. I didn't have any time to look around in toy stores. Toy stores and hobby shops are completely different, you know? It's really difficult to get Western stuff around here, after all. Is this about games again, Mi-chan? Mion nodded proudly as Rena, whatever. I keep right-clicking, it keeps bringing up the menu. Yep, I wanted K-chan to bring me back a Westport catalog, you see. Westport was short for Western Imported Games. Using the abbreviation, using that abbreviation did make it sound pretty geeky. You can just get them to send you one in the mail, can't you? Well, guess I have to now. I'm going to get another game full of hot action. This time I'd like a game that's easy to understand. Mion is a board and card game enthusiast, and I hear she's collected quite a lot of different ones. According to Rena, Mion's room has kind of become a museum for domestic and foreign games. Sounds interesting. If there's a game you'd like, I'd understand. Let me play too. Of course. If K-chan is up for it, I should warn you though, we're pretty tough. Just what I want. I play all sorts of games. I don't intend to lose. Whoa. Then we'll let you in the. Whoa. Then we'll let you in the group this time. I guess. Bristling with joy from head to toe, Rena looked back and forth between me and Mion. Mion gave her an affirmative wink, and her expression perked up even further. I thought boys preferred playing outside more, so I figured you wouldn't want to. Rena laughed happily. From such a friendly conversation, you wouldn't think I had moved here less than a month ago. I understood that they did all they could to make a transfer student like me feel at home. I'll have to try harder to fit in so they won't feel like they have to try and make me feel welcome. I felt like if I acted a bit more open than I usually am, it would probably be about right for this place. Hinamizawa was a really small village. Not only was there only one school, but there was only one class. Interesting, I've personally experienced one classroom schoolhouses before when I was at a small private school before, so yeah. That class encompasses all different grades and ages, similar to the classroom school that I attended for a short while. There are about 30 students at different levels, and they all study in the same class. I'm told that long ago there used to be a bigger school building, and they had actual separate classes. However, it seems something happened that made it become a single class, and now it's stayed that way out of tradition. Okay. I was shocked at first, but humans adapt pretty quickly. I've already gotten used to it. The sound of children playing started right from the morning. With such a lively mood, it felt like a kindergarten. Felt more like a kindergarten than a proper school. Not that that was a bad thing. Mian, who had been walking in front of us until then, suddenly let me take the lead, right in front of the classroom door. So I was meant to slide the door open and enter the room first. Heh. Too bad I wasn't gonna fall for that again. To think you'd give up the lead here. You meant for this to be a test of my skills. Mian chuckled with a hearty smirk on her face. What is it, you guys? Step back, Rena, it's dangerous. She's here. Huh? Then Satoko-chan, is it? Then Satoko-chan is... Her name was Satoko Hojo. She was a disrespectful, impudent, bossy kid. The way she talks was annoying, but it would be immature to get worked up over just that. The real problem was this. Quite the obvious trap, a blackboard eraser wedged in the door. It's too obvious, Satoko. A hearty laugh came from behind the door. Excellent, Kei-chan. I guess that means you win this round. No, this is Satoko we're talking about. I doubt that's it. After falling for such intricate traps since the day I transferred here, I no longer let my guard down. Satoko liked to combine a variety of traps that were simply there to bait you into the main one, traps that relentlessly kept coming at you like a sadistic Rube Goldberg machine. The list goes on. As well as being clever, they almost never misfire. When you least expect it, she strikes. No escape, no time to relax. By the looks of it, this eraser is normal, no rocks or anything in it. I took a pretty heavy hit from a blackboard eraser loaded with rocks on my first day. So then, why don't you just open the door and let it drop? That's what it is. That's what Satoko was after, making me focus my attention upwards, so as I lifted my hand to the door, there were thumbtacks stuck to the sliding door handle with tape. A frightening trap, a potent and terrifying trap, concealed by using the blackboard eraser. An impressive combination, Satoko, but in the end, nothing more than the trivial machinations of a child. Sure of my victory, I threw open the door and stepped into the room. Felt something strange at my ankle. There was a similar to the sensation of a jump rope catching on my leg. By the time I realized she had me hook, line, and sinker, it was already too late. I began to fall in an almost picturesque manner. Kei-chan, watch out! Instinctively reaching out to Mian's shrill warning, I twisted my body in midair, and I landed on the floor. Ow, ow, ow. An inkstone filled to the brim was placed right where I would have landed. I shuddered, imagining the situation had I landed square on it. My, what do we have here? A fair morning to you, Keiichi-san. Aren't we a lively one this morning? Still sprawled in an awkward position, I was greeted by a mocking voice. That was a step up from your usual traps, Satoko. I have the faintest idea what you mean. You're quite unlucky this morning. You little... Ow, 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 ow. It seemed I'd inadvertently sprained my back a little when I landed. Twisting in midair can do that sometimes. Better than landing on that inkstone. Small hand gently rubbed my head. However, we are going to end this episode here. So if you are enjoying this, it's a little brief intro thing they have going on here. Not sure the extent of actual gameplay to this visual novel, if there is any, aside from probably choices made along the path, you know, like usual visual novels. So yeah, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more content, and until next time, everybody, have a good one, and I'll see you later. Have a good one. Until next time, I'll see you later. Kind of stumbled over my outro there. Bye.